Hello. It's been a very long time since my last stream, and I'll be continuing with the same stuff as in my previous stream about this website idea for existential risk, kind of like simulator or calculator visualizer thing. I think I have like more time to focus on this, especially in the upcoming months. Let's see, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna check that everything works. Oops. That. Okay. I think everything seems to work okay. Yeah, let's see. I wonder how loud the computer noise is now, but let's see. So I'm gonna also try this switching the scene stuff now. I have these slides for the website. I could actually post this on let's see if I can do this. Oh, that depends if my chat, that's the wrong one. Let's see if we get this chat thing to work as well. So I could post it. No, this seems to be a wrong one. Okay, let's see. So if you open this link here, just a minute. Okay, that should do it. So yeah, so this link leads to these slides that I'm showing now. So I have had like two like different layout concepts, and now I'm thinking about like a third one that I'm gonna be like planning on this stream. Like this first layout structure that I made it kind of like focused quite heavily on this visual representation, and the next one is kind of like more on these showing numbers and like having access to menu inputs and maybe being more explicit about the connections that are between these different inputs. What what I'm unhappy about like both of these layouts is that they are a bit too complex, too difficult to understand if you open the site, and it's quite like very important to get the user kind of like not leave the site right away, so that it shouldn't be like too overwhelming initially. So I should try like hiding some of the I'm gonna like maybe making some of the options kind of like behind clicks, or like not be outright visible or stuff like that. So yeah, let's focus on this new. I hope this is like shows well enough on the stream. So let's see where the limits are. Um, so kind of like one thing that how I want to reduce complexity when the user first comes to the site is by having less of those time scales. Uh, so okay, I'm gonna put some title here now. So 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 let's think about some design. So, but I was thinking that we could have like have like two time scales initially. So the first would be kind of like next 10 years. So this would be like 2025 to I would like to end this on so for it to be 10 years it would end in like 2026, and then we would have another time scale that would be, I'm just like thinking about the site. I would like to kind of like make the impression that this is like a longer time scale. It's kind of like 10 times longer time scale, but I'm not sure if I actually want to have like a tenfold kind of like a difference. So this would be then like 2126, and then there would be this kind of option to have like a increase because the one of the big ideas of the site is that you can have very long time scales. So you could add always like, well, maybe not always like, but like the maximum we could be like a billion year time scale or something like that. At least 1 million year time scale, but like it would be, they would always be like this kind of like a tenfolds of previous time scales. So how this would work is that we would have maybe with some kind of like a lighter color. It's kind of like annoying that I made this kind of like this is not good. I made this kind of like colorings here. So here would be this kind of like button that you can click. Can have this here and this. Just moving some stuff around here. So we would have here add. You like click here years. So this would be like I think I could use like 20. Yeah, I could go like 2020. No, and 26, something like that. So you click here. Something like that. So it's optional, and So if you click here in this button, it would make this kind of like this one that we have here like to contradict or contract, so that I have some black color here. It's not good. Here. So kind of like move this here so that it would actually be here, like 2026, and then like leave this area here for the 2020. I don't know, I would call it like maybe 2026 to 3026, something like that. So so that would be the effect of that. But yeah, I'm gonna ignore that for now. So yeah, and another thing that I gonna like want to change in comparison to what I have done so far is I want to I'm gonna show this stuff. Like here I have this annual annual extinction probability value, or this like that's kind of like a extinction probability for each year, and I kind of want to change it so that it's there's this like let's see, there's this like numbers here below, like here, like 1 in 2941, and I think that's like for me, like, and I think for most people that's like a lot more like intuitive to understand. So I'm gonna like, especially when we go to this like very small probabilities, that okay, like I have here, like I'm talking about percentages, and we go like way below like 1%. We go like all of the, like in any meaningful use case, all of these probabilities are under 1%. So it always starts with like 0 point something, and I think then it brings this kind of like mental load to the user, like how many zeros are there, like and it gets very hard to, yeah, we don't like usually like and if you have like several like zeros there after the dot there, it gets hard to kind of like grasp the idea, and I think it's a lot easier with this 1 in something kind of thing. So I'm gonna show you how I want to move this to like that direction. So and it's quite simple, and also like regarding like the coloring, I have always it's kind of like some kind of like a accident almost, that it always my color schemes, they come this kind of like pastel color schemes, even if I don't like pastel colors. But some, I don't know, I wonder if the reason because I wanted to use like the dark blue background, and maybe I kind of feel that it's hard to have like anything else there in the like maybe not, like no other color fits so well there or something, I don't know. So yeah, let's go here. So I want to, so why I would like to use like red color is that it is the kind of like color of danger and stuff like that, kind of like bad color, undesirable. Uh, so yeah, well, especially like color of danger, and it's something that we want to have less of. We want to like lower those numbers, and I I think in this case it might be kind of like important to convey meaning with color because uh, I don't know, like existential risks or extinction risk probability or stuff like that. You cannot like if you're not like familiar with this um, with these kind of like words, it might be difficult to understand like uh, is this like a good or bad thing now, and like yeah. So so how we want to do this is I'm gonna like think about where I want to put this. So I'm just gonna start over here, something like this. So this would be just like one, and I want what I like about the one I had like this one, and what I think that will be in the final kind of like website design are these arrows like these clickable kind of like this is how you change the values through these arrows, uh, because yeah, it's if you're talking about like this six digit stuff, it's it gets very frustrating to like type the number there, so it's kind of like easier than to do it with this. So I have to like keep that in mind when I think about this. So how this would be like one in it's already getting like the font is already getting quite well. I'm just gonna put it here and just we just have like a small, and how many kind of like digits do I want here? I think let's see, uh, if I had like four decimals there, so I think that would mean that I need oh actually let's just I'm just gonna have like I'm not gonna think about that yet here, so I'm just gonna like try to have like 6 digits here. So this is gonna take like I'm gonna like have to consider that it's gonna take more space than the previous way to do this, because I have this text here one in, but on the other hand I don't have like the I don't need to add the percentage symbol anymore, so that's how it saves. So let's have here like one in. So yeah, and I don't know if I want to like leave space like as a thousand separator. Maybe not, because it would be kind of like cool to have and easier for me to do to have like a equal distance between these clickable like arrow buttons. And one thing about this arrow button design is that and I kind of want to do something like this that I saw somewhere, that it's gonna like if there's just like background behind these arrow buttons, then it's gonna like it's harder for the user to hit, or they will try to hit like this arrow like specifically, even if though like it's gonna like enough to hit here right like next to the kind of like top of the arrow, but they will try to hit here. So I think what I want to consider is like making like this kind of where do I want to put this here? Okay, I'm gonna put it here, like something like this kind of design. This is now like like a larger, like a magnified image. So something like this. So I can have this. So this would be kind of like, and then there would be right next to it. So this would be above the numbers, something like this. So now the user gonna like knows that, okay, if I hit like hit this square inside this square, then it means that I'm like hitting up and stuff like that. So yeah, and I think it could also make it a little bit more cleaner looking, and you get this more kind of like if you have this square that is kind of like equal width to these numbers, I think it might look a little bit cleaner. Yeah, so this says 1 in blah blah blah. So then we would have like so this is like then I gonna like want to consider like, do I want to have, so let's go, as I have here like 2000, like I have this like explanation like 2006 to 2035. I should maybe like add that somehow, because then like all these other kind of like values, they are for a specific years, they are not like interval values. And I might also yeah, but I could also add it like so I could have like a zero here, like 0 point, okay, if it's something like this is like not the actual number, but like if this was kind of like, if you turn this like do this division and you get these results, which you don't, but if you did, then I could have that here in parentheses, that kind of like, so if you want to think in terms of percentages, this is what you would get. And yeah, I could add here like per year or not, or I could just have it here. Let's see. Extinction. Yeah, I'm not sure. Something like that. Yeah, but I'm thinking like I could have here 2026 to this is 36 actually. And 36, something like that. Yeah, it gets a little bit cluttered looking now, but yeah, I'm not gonna like focusing now on like on these placements and dimensions too much. So yeah, now we have like this like 10-year interval here, and then we have this like the next 90 years after that. So, and this would be a lot easier now for to kind of like fit here. So I would have I would have it like in the middle of these. So let's try to put it like let's try to get this. This would be 2026 to 2035, and this would be 2036 to 2025. I could use a little bit bigger font now for kind of like demonstration purposes here. So yeah, we could have like a similar. I can look here. Yeah, I'm gonna write this a little bit bigger. I could use one in, or I could use this. I'm not sure like this would be easy in a sense that you don't have to kind of like know English or whatever, or this would be the same in all languages. So okay, let's say now that it's kind of like it's a greater chance to die. So this is where there's like one. So it's wait a minute. So if there's greater chance, so this would be like, let's have like a 1 in 21. These are actually like two big numbers now. I'm thinking I didn't think about it too much. So maybe I want to like test out like how big I can make these. 27. Okay, I forgot that I need space for arrows. Yeah. I've been kind of like sketching, doing the sketching a lot with Krita. It's kind of like it's a lot easier. Like if you make mistakes, you can just like press undo. But I think it's kind of like fun to try stuff on a piece of paper, and yeah, this I don't know. There could be some benefits to this. So let's just again like make up some percentage that not even close there. So yeah, this is now bigger one. Yeah, let's just put like 1948% or something like this. I could also have like the per year text. It could be like maybe better because like I had over here, I have it like to the right hand side. So I think that's actually better because so what's happening a lot here, especially if I add this, you see the gray numbers there, or these things. If I add those, it's gonna like it's gonna take a lot of vertical space. So I want to have this per year to be here on to the right, and I think it could be nice to have it on 2 rows because then it doesn't take it, especially if I want to have it here as well, which I do, and I can fit this, like I can move this here like more to the right, like this stuff just a little bit, so I can like fit it there, and even like this right now, like it's a lot bigger than is needed because it takes so much more space if I kind of like write this by pen and paper rather than just like these are like computer generated numbers, because what's the aim is that kind of like that like this paper here that you see, it's kind of like the website wouldn't take a lot more space on the screen than what are the dimensions of this paper here. So you can think like, yeah, this is quite like big, compared to that kind of like dimensions that we have available. So let's look at the survival probability now, and I'm kind of like thinking I don't think I have blue now here, but yeah, I'm thinking if I want to have like a kind of like have to think about like what kind of color palette will work, and I think there's gonna be green. This was the bad green, and then that red one, and I think yellow could fit. I've been using for some infographics. There was like really nice like color palette with dark background, and then like some red and yellow and green and some orange, that they fit nicely together. So I'm actually like thinking about using that as some kind of like at least kind of like as a placeholder palette. and so there's two like main variables that we still need to have here. So it's kind of like the survival probability, which follows from these extinction probabilities, and actually this one. Oh, yeah, I don't think I need this. There's this light blue one here. Um, we are not really gonna like using that, or by default, I think that's kind of like a variable that we are maybe not using. But then there's these population outcome variables. So I'm thinking like that the population could be maybe nicest to have the green color. I'm kind of like annoyed that I don't have the. Okay, I'm gonna use this orange as a placeholder. Like the yellow color wouldn't really like work on this when I'm working on this kind of like a white background now. So this is gonna like be the yellow for now. So if we have like green for the population, and then we have this now this. Okay, I wonder if this is like different enough to the red one actually. I don't think so. I wonder if I have like some blue, but that's not, that's kind of like not different enough to the black ones. I know I have like a lot of pens somewhere with different colors, but I couldn't find them just now. I'm gonna use this orange now. So we're gonna have oh yeah, we also need space for that. I'm gonna leave here some. Yeah, this is actually can get a little bit tricky. Actually, I'm gonna actually think about this first. So because we have this, there's this thing that shows the change to the previous values. So if you click one of these arrows and it kind of like changes the results, then there's this like here the user has clicked to like 0.052 to 0.051, so then there's this like minus 0.001. This is like the change from last values, and then it can like shows here like the in the like throughout the other ones also like shows the change. So I have to leave some space here for that. So yeah, how does it work? Does it sorry, yeah, okay, here. So how does it work with this? If I have like does it just work like if there's a change that we, okay, let's say that we click here, we click here like down. Why is it focusing now? So can we just do like this 0 0 1? I don't think this, yeah, I suppose it works, but I wonder if it's better to somehow express this in terms of like change in percentages or not. So this would be like minus, so because it's kind of like it denotes the change. Yeah, I'm not sure. yeah, it's -1 to, it's kind of like hard to, okay, so this would be like, is this kind of like how easy how easy it is to like grasp this, understand this, uh, because can you, because this, no, it doesn't really work like this at all. Yeah, it doesn't work like this. Yeah, it would have, because this would kind of like read like 1 in 100, like improvement of like so it, this would basically be like a improvement of like 1 percentage point, but that's not like what's happening at all. So because it's like 21,000. Ah, wait a minute. Okay, let's 21,000. 21,300, 21,400. Yeah, I'm not sure if I can figure it out at this point. I will come back to that. It's but this is definitely wrong. Yeah, I'll have to figure it out. But yeah, let's go back to the. Uh, so then we would have another variable here. I've used too much of the space here to the left. So survival probability. So and it, so what term did I use there? So well, it would start off like with like 100 in 2025, and yeah, now we are gonna like having these uh, percentages as the main thing. Um, so clicking, what does this one do? Um, yeah, and then we have like here another, and yeah, I have here like this is one thing that I've been considering. Like I have here so that you can change either the extinction probability or the survival probability, and if you change this extinction probability, it's gonna affect this survival. So it's gonna like if you change the other, they will always like overwrite the other one. So they're gonna like interchangeable, but you're gonna like, it's gonna like you can gonna like choose which one you focus on. But I wonder if that's very like is that like intuitive enough for the user that they get this, that, or will they get frustrated that like their choices are always changing. But I kind of like hope that this kind of thing, it will help the user to better understand like how these variables are connected. So you cannot change that either way. So then if you would have here, let's say something like 99.757%, and then you have here this you can change. So if you change one of these, it's gonna like calculates what kind of like annual extinction rate. I could so this was like I forgot, like this would be, yeah, okay, I'll get back to, yeah, so yeah, it's kind of like calculates like what would be the rate that leads to that probability, or if you change here it calculates what probability comes of it and kind of like changes this accordingly. uh, so yeah, what would be kind of like nice about this, that if I have this extinction probability like uh, expressed like this, then I could maybe, it could be like nicer to use like the word extinction rate or something like this. So that's kind of like another way to like maybe distinct these a little bit. Um, so what's kind of like not so great about this is that with this other specification we have this let's see, thing that kind of like you can see here in the top right that it kind of like, if you have this like 0.034, this shows like how this is calculated, this kind of like this survival rate, what's like the, how they are connected, these two, and kind of like here also on kind of like maybe text form. I think I had a little bit more advanced ideas of this as well written somewhere, like how could this be expressed even a little bit better. So now here, if the focus is on this one in blah 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 instead of this probability, it's a little bit more tricky. On the other hand, if I gonna like leave this kind of like probability here in parentheses, then it kind of like I could still use that, and I could also have here, I'm thinking, if I have, sorry, if I have here in kind of like this title, if I have this word probability in parentheses, then it kind of like yeah, I don't want to have this here, I want it, oops, then I could have, yeah, I want to have this per year to be here. I think then I could use the, yeah, so because if I have here this parentheses, this is in parentheses, then kind of like it's easy for the user to make the connection between these two. And what's just noise, and like then that be okay, this means the rate or something like that, yeah. So yeah, I don't think it's such a big issue to use this like this. So yeah, let's see how this, so now it would be like, here would be like the next kind of like let's have some numbers here again. Oh, I forgot the wrong color. It's not such a big difference. Yeah, I could also um, have some like arrows a little bit more, like I have here in the left side, kind of like trying to indicate what are like the connections between different things. So I could have the arrows here on the left as well, but I could also have so something like this. So this going here, and kind of like then I could actually, I don't know, I could use, I don't know, well, I could use like either of those. So this kind of like indicates that this probability is the result of this kind of like base probability, and then calculating this kind of like on top of that kind of like leads to this, and then it would continue on if you add more. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not. So then we would also have the we would first have, I think, yeah, I think with this one, I don't know if I need this. Yeah, we first have like population if I haven't like figured out like a good phrasing for this. Like this would be like the population if we survive, so if there hasn't been an extinction. So you could choose this, and then we could like I think I did this in terms of like millions of people, so it would start at like 8,300 million people, and then we have like a 10,000 million people, and yeah, it started. Okay, yeah, this is right. This doesn't stay off. And like that. Yeah, I did a port job with this one now. Yeah, you cannot change this. And then you have some value here in. I'm just gonna try to do this a little bit better now. Maybe not. It's gonna. I think like this 10 million could be like a nice default, and it's, I don't think it's like, if you look at, or actually, yeah, this is something else. This wouldn't be like 10 million. This would be like, okay, let's put like it would be like 8.8 or something like that. Okay, this is now like I have here now so it's okay, it's something. So it could be like, it would be kind of like nice, this would be like a nice even number, this 10 billion, and for like 2026 I don't think it would be off by a lot. I think the kind of like the United Nations projections are that we are, let's have a small side drawing here. So if you have 2100 here, so we are gonna like continue increasing, and then gonna like there's gonna be a peak around 2080, and then it's gonna be a little over 10 billion in 2100, with a slight decreasing trend. So it could like quite well like be like 10 billion or something like that. And but I kind of like want to use, even if there's this decreasing trend, but I think it's gonna, but I still want to use maybe like this 10 billion number for any like future. So if you choose to have like a longer time scale, I kind of like want to use it there as well as a default value, because the decreasing trend is not, it's not decreasing too fast, and the other reason is that it's very hard to predict like how will the, because the next year that we're gonna look at after 2126 is 3026, because that's like or it would be sorry, yeah, maybe it's that, yeah, because that's like 1000 year from here. And yeah, it's very difficult to kind of like guess like how will the population, so it's kind of like easy to default to like, okay, it's gonna stay around the same same level. And there can be like very some factors that have a tendency to, that might increase it or decrease it, yeah. So yeah, then there would be expected, I don't think I want to do, so there's this, yeah, there's some things here that I have to choose, like what are the most relevant of these, so that they would be on by default, and what would be kind of like that you can turn on optionally. So the like for population outcomes, these two first, they're gonna be there. So there's gonna be this that you can set this population, and then that kind of like uses this survival probability to calculate like so this expected population, as you can see from this tutorial array here, is it's the population in case of survival multiplied by survival probability. So that would be the expected population, and then like then these two last ones, I might want to have like either of those, but maybe not both, because then we would have a lot less. But I also had the idea of having some other ones. I'm gonna go and, because I had some that I had been sketching here, so I'm gonna open this and check. See, what's this one? Okay, I'm gonna try and, okay, let's see. Yeah, it should work. Yeah, okay, this is maybe like the the newest one, or this this is something that I had in mind before I started this. There's some elements here. I think that where is it zooming? Um, uh, let's see. What was I thinking? Or have I like yeah, like maybe adding like what's the I think like maybe focus quite a lot on like what's if we go to these population measures, like what's the potential and stuff like that, and also have like maybe here some if I have these some this yeah, I had some idea about tutorial, but yeah, I don't think I had here what I thought I had. Let's go back here. uh, let's see if I can remember. Okay, if I have like so if you have some yeah, expected population here, yeah, we are not gonna fill it out now, and then we have expected cumulative population. I'm gonna draw below this. So here, so that would be kind of like adding up all the kind of like the same way that here we kind of like add up this extinction. Well, we don't add up, we kind of like multiply them, but whatever. These survival extinction probabilities, here you kind of like add up these expected populations, that so you kind of like have here like all the years that humanity has lived until that point, or if you have it in terms of like these how many lives there will have been, so you can like divide that first number by 75 years or whatever is the expected kind of like life expectancy, then you get this like yeah, how many lives will there be by 2036 or 2026 or 3026, and you go forward and forward. So yeah, with these ones, it could be kind of like nice to have some kind of like uh, potential. Maybe like same way that we have here, like population if we survive. So the potential would be kind of like some of those kind of like mm, potentials over time. Uh, but that brings a little bit of like difficulty if I have here this, that I want to indicate like what's the change to previous values, then um, it's it's hard to kind of like so let's try here, like if I have a expected value of like here something like yeah, I'm just gonna put it here even though it's not the correct place, but I have something like 7. So this is now like billions, and then I could have like what's the, so if the potential was there, like if there were like no, so this would be something like that. So now if I have like the change to previous, so I could indicate like if there's like an decrease in the extinction probability, it's gonna play out to be like so there's gonna be like a decrease of like some number here, but there's also, it's gonna like it could also be interesting to see like what's the, how much of potential have we lost. Like here you can see that it's a little bit like over 100 billion. So something like this. Yeah, these are not real numbers. So now we have like 4. We would have like for one variable we would have kind of like 4 figures, and it's a little bit too, it's a little bit much for the user to follow, and can I click here? So yeah, what to, like, do I want to show like just this first one or the last one, or do I want to kind of like don't not show like this like difference to potential? Is that like interesting enough, or do I just, if I, then again, like if I don't show this one and I have like, I show this like a expected value on potential, and then kind of like difference to these values that have been changed, then the user might think that, especially if I have this one down here, the user might think that, okay, this is now showing this difference even though it's not. So yeah, it's gonna like what information is kind of like important here, and especially like because this is kind of like the minimum number of variables, and if I want to have this fit on one kind of like page, so that you wouldn't have to scroll to see all of this, then it's kind of like very tricky. Other thing that I've been like considering is that, like, as I have here, like the idea here was that you would have the in this view you would have the graph area below these numbers, or it could also be that it's like off by default or something like that, or it could be on, but if you kind of close this tutorial, then it kind of like leaves more space to show that graph area under there as well. Whereas in this kind of like the original design, there's a heavy emphasis on the graph area, and I kind of would like to have some kind of middle ground between these two approaches, and I wonder if I can incorporate these graphs somehow better to this, especially if I don't have this, if I don't have to think about this this tutorial area, if it's kind of like not in use. Like, would it work better? But again, I had this idea that maybe I should use another page now. So I think I had this idea that so if let's say that we have like these we have like 2020 5-year 2036. We have the 2026, and okay, we have all the stuff here. We have these variables and we have their values over here. Then I like could we also have some kind of very we have like just some let's see, if we have here, so if this was the graph area, and then we have like we have those this survival rate variables here, and then we have those population variables. Then could we have in here so let's say like we have this could I think this would be beneficial in a sense that, especially this, because we have this extinction rate, and we have survival and then we have like some let's just put it like this. We have those population variables here. So this would be, we would be kind of like yeah, this one thing that's interesting here, what kind of scale do we want to use? Because in these graphs here, for survival, which is kind of like this light blue in these ones, I've used this it's gone from from 0 to 100, so it kind of like shows everything in scale, and I think there's a lot of benefit in that, or it makes it more simple, and it makes kind of like these scales easier to understand. Uh, and I had this, like now the extinction probability, I had it kind of like so that kind of like those years with the highest probability that kind of like define the upper limit of the scale, and you're gonna like have to do that because um, yeah, the probabilities are so low, you cannot use like 100% or something like that. um, so for the extinction probability, I think I'm gonna, at least for that, I'm gonna use the same approach. uh, but for the survival probability, especially if this was kind of like the default view for that time scale, or for like that, if you have these four time scales, and so this website design, but for here, if you use the same probabilities that it ends at for 2126, it's around, like it could be like around 95% the survival probability. Then uh, it's so then if we, and I kind of like this idea that we have like we only have two time scales first, because it makes it so much more condensed. But maybe one thing that I've been thinking about is, or that I actually think about right now, is that uh, I wonder if this 10-year focus is very relevant. Uh, because I cannot really, I don't know if there's like a good like is there a reason to separate between these extinction probabilities in the next 10 years and the 90 years after that? Um, like I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if this 10-year. So let's think about if we had like instead here we would have 2126, and we had, so this would be kind of like so in a sense it's not as elegant like that we have like 100 years instead of 10 years, but also in a sense that like if you always want to have like a multiplication of 10, should we also have like 1 year like interval, like 2025 to 2026, or something like that? uh, so it's kind of like arbitrary that we have to 10 years as a kind of like first. I don't know. I think in the end, like if even if we end up like first having like the first time scale to be 100 years, and the second time scale to be like to be the next 900 years, so that we have like a 1,000-year time scale altogether. there would be an option to set different probabilities, or set like to use like the 2025 to 2036, so that you can kind of like choose to have the smaller time scale as well, in the same way that you can kind of like add more time scales here. But yeah, now I'm kind of like thinking that one reason why this would be appealing, or maybe there's like two reasons. So let's see, like 3026 here. It's also kind of like one thing that's kind of like nice here is that it starts with 3. So it's kind of like this might be like a very small thing, that, but it's it's easier, or you kind of like it's quicker to see that okay, now there's like that the first digit changes. So now there's like this we are like crossing a threshold here, like first two start with 2 and then it starts with 3. I think it's quite a lot like quicker to make the connection that okay, like 100 years here, 1000 years here, or something like that. Yeah, I think this could work. Um, okay. Yeah, yeah. That's like. Yeah. Let's make some kind of like pros, uh, pros and cons list. Um, Running out of space. So we have this starts at 3. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Then we have uh, yeah. This is what I was discussing. That mm, can the user is this like more relevant? Um, or kind of like less relevant because it's like, and even if they can, I think like should we have because I wonder if this like this that we are thinking now is more relevant. Uh, And I think because there's like a lot of arguments have been made that this that this rate will probably be lower here in the in the future. Uh, so I wonder if that was kind of like the third thing that I was thinking about. Uh, um, yeah, it would better show it, but like kind of like it would show it better and kind of like if it's important. And maybe it's kind of like over long time periods. Um, so if we have like so let's say that we have like I could have it here, one in 2000. So this would be kind of okay. I don't want to use that kind of number. To okay, I've ruined this. And then we have another one here. I could just like have these scales. So if this would be like 1 in 8,897, something like that. Yeah, these kind of like these, when kind of like denoted as ratios, I think it's just so much more easier to understand. Okay, like it's like almost 1 in 10,000 that we the extinction rate compared to like this. So this would be like 0.01%. So it takes a lot of like mental load to think about, like try to like conceptualize to yourself like what's the okay what does this percentage like mean, like what is the scale here. So yeah, I was thinking I'm thinking about this, like if I had this kind of like graph area below there. So now if we okay, one advantage of this is where like this idea started now, which let's see if I have space here, is that it's can start we can start survival probability scale at 0% better, because if you look at this based on like what probabilities I have used here, it's gonna go to 70%. like the survival probability by year 3000 with these extinction probabilities, compared to like if we have these rates until 2126, it goes to 95%, and it's just like a lot harder to show that 95% there. There's also yeah, I'm gonna throw those, but I have another thing I want to discuss here. But so let's like we will have like 95% like here. We have like 70 like here. So this already gonna like shows that okay, we are gonna like not, because if we have like this 95%, we are just like staying like here like nearly to the ceiling all the time, and it's kind of like hard to, especially if I want to have this to be kind of like how do you call it, short, no, kind of like well, not tall, so that it's kind of like vertically small. And then there's always the tricky issue with this, how do I make this population into graph. I never like kind of like been very satisfied. Like I had here like this, that it's well, in this one I used this, I had this like main focus on these life years of humankind. So it's kind of like it's not, let's see, did I have anything, well, over here about this? Yeah, here in the bottom, it kind of like tries to, I've tried to like maybe indicate some of this. So yeah, I have here I think this orange line here, it's supposed to be, yeah, that's the survival probability. No, that's the cumulative population over time. And this the blue one is survival probability as kind of like indicated by the color. And then the green line is, yeah, that's the like the potential cumulative population. And then I've kind of like colored the area between those to indicate what's the it's yeah, that's kind of like lost potential. Yeah, I was thinking here about how to, I had kind of like my focus on this lost potential thing, and how to have that in a graph. And I'm not gonna, yeah, this you shouldn't think about like, yeah, this this just happened to kind of like be like a little bit too tall or a little bit too big, this kind of like font on this survival probability or the tick line. It doesn't mean anything. Yeah, and then there's I haven't like this kind of like I stopped doing this at some point. Yeah, maybe I had the idea of like I have the potential as a number somewhere. Then I could use some different colors. So now it depends like what like what do I want to have in the graph. So I think so in the graph so I think like well, the extinction rate is not, it's not kind of like, yeah, I think I want to have it mainly because it's quite simplistic and there's kind of like maybe yeah, you want to have it because it's also that like you can indicate that okay, this is like constant over time, over this time. So I think that's quite important. And then I want to have the survival probability because I think that's the main we're gonna like it's the most important. I don't know if it's kind of like the main outcome, but it's kind of like the most important thing that's influencing the outcomes and stuff like that. So I think it has to be there. But yeah, now it gets kind of like tricky. Like what other stuff is gonna be there? So you could have like let's I'm gonna write here like what are kind of like the options in a sense. So expected. And we have like expected cumulative population. I'm also thinking like should I have should I have what was that? Yeah, lost potential. Then you could have like lost potential population or lost potential cumulative. Yeah, I don't think it makes sense to have like lost potential. If I have in the graph, well, let's see. Like if I have in the graph like how would population progress? In a sense, it could be nice to have the graph to have. Would it be better if the graph had kind of like the the variables that are gonna like the first, if we go like from top to bottom, or kind of like that the variables that you need to understand the other variables. And it's also because I'm thinking like, could I use this if I have this like how would you call it, like a snapshot variables that kind of like describe what's the level at certain point in time. Could I use that to? Could I use those like I had used in here the like okay, it's here. No, come on. Here, like indicate the kind of like the cumulative variables as kind of like the shaded area under the under these lines with population, like the area under the curve will indicate kind of like the cumulative sum, like stuff over time, something like that. So I think here it also depends. Yeah, I don't know if it depends. Yeah, I was also thinking like, especially if I want to use with this graph, it gets kind of tricky when you have time scales, like different time scales. Like if you have a 100-year time scale and 1,000-year time scale, then what's the yeah, if you look at like this picture here above, it's kind of like these four of these, because there's these four different time scales. They kind of like seem equally important, or kind of like have or that kind of like, so if this light or this kind of like a shaded area which is kind of like showing like how much life is there gonna be in expectation over time. So if you just look at this, you could think about, okay, there's more life in the first time slot than in the last, although there's like a lot more in the last, even if like the annual kind of like or if the survival probability is a lot lower in those years. The last last one indicates like a 9,000 year time interval, whereas the first one indicates a 10-year time interval. So it's there's a lot more like even like especially because these survival probabilities remain quite high, there's gonna be like a lot more life lived on those. And I think this uh, and I've done this like correction like below. This is why I have this like another graph below that to indicate the actual scale and the actual kind of like now in this case it really shows the like this shaded area in the graph below. It's a true indication of how much life there is in either time scale. And I'm just like wondering if there is a clean way to do this so that so that you can like can you do this without having the image below? Can you somehow yeah, it might be a impossible thing. And this is what I kind of like try to do in a sense that if I have like this that this first time scale, it's kind of like it's a bit it's bit like smaller, even if it's not like a tenfold. Yeah, I don't think I could fit. I could maybe almost fit like a tenfold, but I cannot fit a tenfold in the graph, so I haven't done it. And I'm not sure if I should I even try, or should I have just have them on the same same scale. I'm not sure. Uh, but yeah, the other thing that I was thinking, which I gonna want to maybe, uh, yeah, maybe this was a bit long uh, preface to this. That could this be done if I can like separate those different time scales a little bit better, or is this just gonna lead to bigger problems? So let's say I have here like this. Uh, so if this is the first one, and then we have another one here, like this. So will this make it easier? Um, like now there's the option that you could have like because this is like the end of this is 2126, and the start of this is also like 2026. Or this could be also like I could make it so that this is like 2125, or it's kind of like that, or that you can think of this as this is kind of like the beginning of I don't know. I think it's a lot cleaner if they are the exact same time, so they are kind of like both the start of 2126. Um, but so this could mean that yeah, I'm wondering like if I don't need to place those numbers here, well, I could also just have like one number to be like between these. So and this like this gap doesn't have to be so big. like they can be like closer to each other because there's like no need to put anything there, but I just want to indicate that there's this shift here. And so let's see, like this would like end like in here, and then it would like start off in the same point. And yeah, and one thing that I also want to kind of like do this is I don't want these to be in a kind of like logarithmic time scale. I want them to be in linear time scale within like within like their respectable like respectable like sections. So because if I used like like it would be a lot easier to have them in same picture if I just use like a logarithm, if I state that this is logarithmic time scale. But then I would have, and I think I had it at some point, but then it gets very tricky with this, like you have to, the survival probability, you cannot like, if you have like a constant extinction risk, you cannot, then it kind of doesn't translate to this kind of like, if you have a logarithmic time scale, it's so, and then it's not like a linear survival curve that you draw, but it's kind of like it takes kind of like this like it takes this the logarithmization of this time scale into account, so it kind of like makes it harder to understand, I think. But if I had this, I could like put something here, or I could like I don't know, I could like maybe even better indicate what these are. And yeah, maybe I was a bit skeptical about putting these in different boxes, because I had this impression that okay, then I would have to have like doubles here, like I would have to have like a 95 blah blah blah, and then I would have like 95 in here as well. But it doesn't have to be so that it would kind of like be in line with this, but they don't have to be like maybe like connected so rigorously. So maybe it's not kind of like needed. If I just have those numbers here and I have like all of those, and then I could have also like I could still have under this one, I could do the same thing that I did here. So I could have sorry, I could have this linear time scale graph in there. So although that would kind of like take like a lot of so this would be like the first 10. Okay, I'm gonna use some blue color. Something like this. I could also just have like these somehow these colors to be like, if I just have these lines to be somehow like very a better like stronger or more indicative of what's kind of like happening there. uh, I was also thinking like, yeah, this was what would have been very nice, or I don't know if it could still happen, like could I fit because if I just have like two time scales on by default, could I fit like in the view like uh, yeah, I don't think it's like, could I make it like a real scale so that, yeah, I don't think it's happening. mm. Then it's just like, do I want to have like do I want to have different scales at all? Is it just like, because now if we have this case that we have let's say we have something like this, so let's say that this is like x width here, so this is basically like 2x width here. Is it just like more confusing for the user to understand that this is actually 10 times, or actually 9 times, whatever, 9 times bigger this time period, even if it visually looks like that it's twice as big. Like the middle option could also be that I have let's see, let's have here so you have like two equally sized, so this would be 2025 or it would be have to be, yeah, then we would have like also here like the third one that would be kind of like empty. It could be cool if it was, I think it would be, I think there's a benefit to this, to having like a equal size, because if you have here this, that you can click the add button if you want this. Okay, these are okay, now I forgot. Okay, the add button doesn't, it's not, well, it could be also be in the graph section, like like you could have the both in the inputs and the kind of like this graph output, you could have both. In both cases you could yeah, I think it would be like kind of like good to have that you also see, well, maybe not button here, but somehow like to indicate that something like this would always be like that's how you make the connection, that these are always grayed out. So then you make the connection, and then they are of course like they're in the same kind of like horizontal position, like that's the other way, and then you can have like those, I don't know, but yeah, no, let's think about this. If you have like two, so yeah, you could have like, you could have these this would start at like now we would have a lot more vertical space initially for all of the inputs and stuff like that, if we have like this first one to be bigger as well. And just thinking like is there a little bit of because it's or maybe we don't have like we don't really I'm wondering like do I want to use that okay, because the case is that like let's say you click the okay, I'm gonna have another paper here. So if you have this case that you have these three cases, and let's say that this is kind of like the size of the page here, and I have here like options, settings, and stuff like that. And here you have this. It can be like both inputs or graph. It doesn't matter. But then if you have this case that you let's have here now like 2025 to 2026. Yeah. So well, this could be yeah, this would be okay, whatever. Yeah. So now if you click the add, will this become or it could become like this, that now you have 4 of these things. Ugh, screwed it up. Okay, let's think that these are the same width, and then you have like another add button here. And you have 2025 to 2026, 2026, and then you have like the 12,000, 26, something like that. So yeah, so what happens is that now this would be the same height, but then now happens that there's a lot less width available to each of these. So how does this affect is that I could like use this whole width for my input text before, or I could use like a smaller one so that it can then like I could use the same width here, because it would be nice or actually so that kind of like the input size would stay the same as we go here, or like another option is that they are all already like before you do the first add you have it like this, so that there's like more of this empty space to the right, and then you just have to think about like what would be kind of like the how many like is the 4 like the magic number of like how much do I want to have shown in the, and maybe like this can offer some, like here I have 4 periods basically, 1 2 3 4. I could add a fifth one, so maybe it could be that it's like so that could be kind of like so. So let's say that we have like five would be kind of like we could actually get to, so if we skip this like first 10 years, so this would be 3,000, this would be 10,000, 100,000. So we would get like the million years without expanding the view, if we want to make this like very, and then you could I could also like move this a little bit to the left. Like there's this yellow text here that's not gonna be in the final version, so I could move this at least like one. I could like make move for at least one more area here. What was I thinking? Yeah, so it's kind of like you don't want it to be too crowded either. And I'm also kind of like thinking that if I fill the whole space, like is it too sparse, or is it harder to make the connections between these variables? So that could be kind of like an issue. Where did I start? Where did I start with this? Kind of like I think I had a little bit of started to go on some tangent here. Let's really remember where did I start with this thought. Yeah, it was also about this. If I have these graphs, is it gonna have them kind of like separated to indicate this? But I wonder if that's also the case for the survival probabilities, that it is it also like here? Is it kind of like hard to, even if I have these numbers here, I have here like these 10 year, 100 year, okay, okay, whatever these, is it hard to here also gonna like make the connection that okay, now we are gonna like moving to kind of like bigger and bigger things here. I think it is very difficult. Like one way to kind of like make this easier would be kind of like have this like 2025 in a lot smaller font than like year 3000 or something like that, but I think it's just it can just get to look stupid, and I had the idea like to have some kind of, I don't know, some kind of, like if I have here these lines that indicate time, like could I draw some I think this I kind of like this thing that I have here going on, like with these year numbers and like how they go to these different timescales, and I wonder if that could be made a little bit better. So if I have a, let's say we go with this 100, and go so 1,000, 10,000. Yeah, the one thing that I was wondering, if could I do somehow like indicate, like if we have here, if this would be kind of like this line here, somehow kind of like this length here would be 1,000 years. So could I indicate, how do I make this connection there? And then, so these would be, could it be like something like this? So if we have a, I'm gonna throw it even bigger here, or I don't know, have a little more separation. Or could I use like, could I use different colors? That's like one way to approach this, and I had like thought about something like that at some point, but it can just like make the graph a little bit crowded, and it's you just have to like, especially if you use different colors or different hues, you just have to make the graph like so much bigger. But yeah, you would go like, okay, here you first have like green, goes like that, and then you would have like you would have this red one like this. So the green one, it would be kind of like the first 10 of that red one, like something like this, and then you would have like a blue one here, goes even further, and like the first like 10th of that would be painted red to indicate that that's kind of like that's like so here we, okay, let's, here you have like 1,000 year time scale, and you would use red color for it. Here you have 100 year time scale, use green color for it. You have 1,000 year, 10,000 year time scale, and you have blue color for it. One thing that how in addition to like having different hues, like here I have like blue, green, red, and green, you could just have like for example, if you use green, you have like different shades of green, different like saturation or kind of like brightness of green. So for example, that like the 10-year time scale is kind of like a lot less saturated, and then like a or 100-year time scale, 1,000-year time scale, and then the 10,000-year time scale would be the like most saturated, and something like that. And yeah. I'm just thinking like here you could have those. You could also have like some arrows here to make the point a bit better. And here you could have this kind of like something like this. It's also, there's another way to do this, because so if you have here because we have those, like it starts with these, we have those extinction risk probabilities here, then we have here for a different time period, and here for the last time period, and then you have those survival probabilities down here. So so it could you could also kind of like draw here so that this would all be red, like okay, I don't know if this would be necessary, but another way to kind of like indicate this, if you regard the red line, is that you draw here, and then you have like this would be like 1, then you have like 8 of these in succession like this. So now this would indicate that, okay, this here is like 1 time period, and then you have like 8 time periods, or okay, these are 9 time periods of kind of like equal length here, condensed over this this slot here, and then yeah, this would yeah, maybe this wouldn't require using different hues, but you could kind of like use those hues in a sense that if, and yeah, okay, how this would continue is that we have here the same thing, we have 1 here, and then we have like a 9 ones here, whereas in these ones they have like 10 slots of kind of like equal measure. So then you could have, I don't know, something, could you, I don't know, maybe have something like this. Like, could I have the green one here? Could I have like or have like, could I have No, I don't think so. Um, mm, okay, let's say that these colors are like different shades. Could I have these like in light shade, and then we're gonna like color all these ones in a darker shade. We also use it for this one, and then we have this one. I'm gonna like the clearest shade, and I think it's also um, I think this would work like this one, like if you have those graphs there below, because then this one goes, okay, we have those numbers here, and then we have a graph. Okay, have the graph thing here. I don't know why this came now a little bit wide. It should like start here basically, but something like this. And I don't know, then you could maybe use somehow, again these are like different shades of the same color, but you could use those like to continue to indicate that there's some kind of change here of when you come from one graph section, like, so if you have these different backgrounds on the graph, maybe that could be used to make it help to make the connection. I don't know. Um, okay. I'm just gonna try to visualize this a little bit. It's also like I have those scales here. They also have like somewhere in here. Like it could also, let's see, how did I have it on the let's see here. I could still make this like linear graph under these. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end the stream now. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I might continue someday soon. Yeah, I have more time to stream now, so I might